Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you once again, giving all praise to Yahweh by Shem, Yahweh Shai by Shem, Kodash. And this is a read to what Apostle Ram put up entitled Edomite Christians Don't Know What Revelation 18 means. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So I'm listening to it. I'm almost 14 minutes in of a 52-minute video, and he had mentioned that I was going to come back and do the whole breakdown, but it seems like he's doing it. But I'm going to go through it myself. If the Spirit leads me, I'll break down every verse, but I'm gonna skip through, read through certain parts that we should understand. If you don't understand certain verses, you can come to the comment section of this video and say, I didn't understand this verse or that verse. Can you go over it? No problem. Anyway, Revelation, we're gonna go right into it. Revelation 18 verse 1. Before I go into it, High Priest Ariah and the other priests, mainly High Priest Ariah, because he went into a lot of those breakdowns on the Saturday morning class. And I remember when he would teach that Revelation, he would say Revelation is America. I mean Babylon is America, pursuant to Revelation, the 18th chapter. But he says in the first, I'll read the first couple of verses, it says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he was in a ship, UFO, so you can understand. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is falling. So after this place is fallen, John said he saw an angel come down, a mighty angel come down. So that was a ship that came down and said with a loud voice, this place is done. Stick a fork in this bitch because it's done. So this is after the fact. Now, what High Priest Ariah taught was, this is when Esau came over and took down the North American Indians. So he's saying that going to as far back as what is it, 1492, 1493, on up into the 1500s. That's when Esau came in, and he said the unclean bird are a bunch of homosexuals, a bunch of I don't even know if I should say that word. Those hateful birds, unclean and hateful birds, were a part of the beginnings, the origins of the LGBTQ community. So you got to be politically correct around these demons. Anyway, it's his second verse, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. These are scavenger birds. Now, I saw this witness yesterday. I was driving, and there was like a dead squirrel, and this big, huge, it looked like a raven, but it was like, it had to be like 5 times the size, and I wasn't going to mess with that bird, but I seen that scavenger bird. Could have been a hawk. I'm not a bird expert, but it was a big black, it was the size of a big turkey, and turkeys could be as big as 25 pounds, 30 pounds, but it was all black, and it was nibbling on some roadkill. Anyway, that's what's going to be in Babylon. These desert animals that can live in desert type conditions, and when certain animals die, you had scavenger birds that would eat the dead carcass or carcasses of that dead animal. So that's what it's talking about. There was a song called, let me bring it up. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. Let me open up another tab. Bear me for a minute. And see, what we're supposed to focus on is prophecies, man. And Revelation 18 chapter is a major prophecy. All right. Let me see. Okay, this is it right here. Let me just bring it up. This is a song, a group called America, and the name of the song is A Horse with No Name. And if you Google it, you will see Gadites, like a mural of Gadites during the 1800s, plain Indians, and you see Edomites sitting in front of them, you know, kind of sitting down on the floor. Anyway, it says I'll read some of the lyrics of the song. It says, on the first part of the journey I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz, and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It feels good to be out of the rain. Why would you feel good to be out of the rain if you're in the desert? And I believe, and they have their own interpretation, but I believe that rain is the nuclear rain that's going to fall on America. So I don't know if they knew what they were singing, or whoever put these lyrics together. It says, in the desert you can remember your name, because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. Anyway, after 2 days in the desert sun, my skin became, oh shit. After what? After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. Whose skin turned red when they're in the sun too long? Edomites. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at her, and it ain't fun to be turned red because you're burning in the sun. I was looking at a river bed. He was seeing a mirage, hallucinating. And the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. Or the waters, no waters in America. Everything's going to be desert. Anyway, I'm not going to sing anymore. You can look it up yourself and see what you can pick out of it. But that rain, you know, he said his skin, after 2 days in the desert sun, his skin began to turn red. It's an Edomite. When Jay goes out in the sun, they turn darker, myself included. Then he spoke about the rain. He spoke about, well, where is it? Okay, this is, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It feels good to be out of the rain. If you're in the desert, you thank the Most High for rain. You don't say, "Oh, it's good to be out of the rain." You want it to rain in the desert, so you can get water, so it can be cool. So that rain would have to be, those missiles are raining upon Babylon the Great. So I mean, you interpret it the way you want to interpret it. All right. So now let's go back to Revelation 18 verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication. And fornication means these other nations went to bed with the U.S. by way of democracy. All these nations' leaders are voted in. They have an election process which came from where? It came from America. It came from Rome, because it was a Senate that voted on who would be the Caesar or the emperor. It says for all, but they will get their influence from the people, from the patricians and the plebeians. Look those two words up. Which today is the plebeians would be the Democrats and the patricians would be the Republicans. So look it up. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. Anyway, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath. And the wine is their philosophy, which is Christianity, democracy, but mainly democracy, because you have nations that are Islamic nations that have that their leaders are set up by way of the election process. So really it's talking about their election process, their political system. So the third verse, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her. That's why you think they have a general assembly come September, mid to late September. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, went to bed with her, agreed to have an election process. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So these nations, now what I did was, at one point, if I can find it, let's hope I can find it. Bear with me for a minute. Let me try it this way. Okay, that's not it. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, this is an article. It says U.S. imports. Imports meaning the U.S. receiving goods from outside of the U.S. It said by year for top 5 countries. It says 5 countries make up over half of all U.S. imports. So a big part of at one time America was considered what made America great and what made people rich, and what made America rich is them exporting goods around the world. So now, you know, through them exporting goods, there was a point in time, and the last hurrah was, I would say, 70s into the 80s. That was your last hurrah. The 50s, post World War II, the late 40s into the 50s into the 60s. That's back when the New Deal. That's back when they had who said this? Was it FDR? He said a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage, or something to that effect. Well, anyway, back then, Edomite men that had wives and children, women didn't have to go out and work. It was the men that went out and worked, and they only worked for 8 hours. They would come home, and they would bring home enough money to pay the mortgage, pay and they normally own that house outright. So they were doing good back then. But then the end of the 70s into the 80s. Really, when Reagan came in, that's when that turnaround took place, where those the different factories and steel mills and so forth, they all closed down and basically corroded. So this guy, Donald J. Trump, talking about he's gonna make America great again. He's not gonna make it. Well, he will make America great again, because he's gonna cause America to go down in a great way, a great destruction. So he's not lying about that, but he's not gonna make it great as far as being a great exporter of goods like they once were. Okay, that's out. That's not coming back, because first of all, you got to build up all these factories, and that's going to take years. So you're talking about, let's say it happens, it will take about anywhere from 15 to 20 years to build up the infrastructure, to build up the factories, to build up the technology, and then train people. There's a lot of people that don't know how to, at one point, U.S. citizens, they all had some form of skill. We used to have trade schools and schools that taught you mechanics, diesel mechanics, auto body, welding, construction, and you had that because when you graduated from high school, you can either go to college, become a doctor or a lawyer, or you can go on and be a construction guy or a carpenter or a builder of things. So we done lost that. America done lost that. Not we. Well, we were a part of it. We were a part of it because we experiencing these things. I remember they had what's this program? What the hell was it? CETA program, and if you went to college, they would give you Pell Grants, and you had the Manpower program. You had all these different programs where you can actually get a skill and be an auto mechanic or a body mechanic guy, or learning some type of skill, and then they would give you a check to go to school. You would go to school all week. And I remember Jake, the only ones that were serious about it was myself. I was somewhat serious about it. I learned some things. And then you had a couple of Jakes that were street mechanics that wanted to learn the technical side of auto mechanics. But then out of 30 of them, 35 of them, 5 of us would be serious about this thing. And the other 5 would just goof off all day. And I remember one guy, Benjamin Knight, he used to come in, sign his name, disappear, come back at 3 o'clock, sign his name, and go home. And on Friday, he would come and pick up a check. And this dude was never there. He didn't give a shit. But then the majority of them, the rest of them, like about 30 of them, they'd be goofing off and bullshit. And that's what Jake does. So this whole reparation thing, well, we can't give them money, but we're going to set up programs. First of all, you got to get them Negroes to go to the programs. And then once you get them in there, you got to get them to stay. And then you got to get their attention, man. Jake is cuckoo in the brain. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, that shit ain't going to work. That shit is not going to work, man. You'd be setting up programs for nothing for Jake. Anyway, it says 5 countries make up over half of all U.S. imports. Imports meaning these countries ship things to America. They are China. China became rich. You have multi-billionaires in China because of America, because of the imports that they sent over here. Canada, Mexico. If you get certain automotive parts from a car dealership, whether it be GMC or Ford or Chrysler or whatever company you go to, you look at the box, it'll say made in China, assembled in China, or made in China, assembled in Mexico. Ain't nothing being built, not too many things are being manufactured here in America, very few things. It says Japan and Germany. Germany's, the world learned their a lot of their technology through Germany. It says the United States imported the most goods from Canada until 2007, when China replaced our neighbor, which is Canada to the north, in 2018. These 5 countries supplied 58%, so over half of the goods of the 2.4 trillion in the U.S. And I don't got to read no more. If I remember, I will put this. And you know what? Let me read on. Let me jump down to this here. What is this? Third paragraph, right? It says China. China primarily exports electrical equipment. This would include computers and optical and medical equipment. It's also a big exporter of low-cost apparel, fabric, and textiles. When you go to the store and you buy clothes, look at where it's made. The tag, it'll say China, for the most part. A lot of China's exports are manufactured products made for U.S. companies. These companies pay to ship raw materials to China. And a lot of these business people that own clothing lines, you know what they wind up doing? The majority of them, they'll make a deal with a Chinese company to make, let's say, baseball caps. And they'll, like if they went to an American company, if they can find one, they might say, well, that's going to cost you $5 a cap. So you take it to China, and they might say, well, that's only going to cost you 50 cent a cap, 25 cent a cap. So what are you going to go with? So all this bullshit that this man Trump is talking about is all bullshit. It ain't going to happen. He's not going to bring the jobs back, because if he did, let's say he performs a miracle, and he sets up these manufacturing buildings to manufacture these companies, these factories. Let's say he does all that inside of a year. You got to hire the people. How much you think these people are looking to get paid? They're looking to get paid at least $15 an hour, which that's chump change. You have to work 80 hours a damn week in order to bring home some halfway decent money. But they're going to be looking for more of that. They're going to be looking for $25, $30, $40 an hour. They're going to be looking for medical, dental. They're going to look for vacation time, sick pay, all that stuff that comes with your salary. And then they're looking, when they retire, to get a deal. Now, in China, they don't have to do that. They pay them damn near next to nothing, man. It's called slave labor. So it's not going to happen. It said these companies pay to ship raw materials to China. They're the low-cost factory workers process the materials into the final product. So you can have a deal where the materials could be shipped from America to China or from a third country, but it's the Chinese companies that manufacture these things, these items. It says Canada. Almost 75% of Canada's export go to the United States, thanks to the North American Free Trade Agreement, which that came about during the time of the Clinton administration, and really it messed up trade for the U.S. Since 1994, trade between the NAFTA partners has tripled. So it didn't help America. It helped these other countries. Canada has abundant supplies of oil, gas, and uranium. Mexico, the other member of the NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement, sends even more of its exports, about 75% to the United States, and then they send their people. They say, yeah, go ahead and get a job in America. So, Mexico is fucking over America. It's a number one expert in manufacturing products for many of the same reasons. If it were for the drug cartels, if they got rid of the drugs, if people in Mexico or around the world said they're not going to do drugs no more, Mexico will collapse. Most of these economies will collapse. So now they're talking about legalizing, they did that, marijuana, because the drug industry, man, is a major industry, man. So if they were to eradicate all drugs or illegal drugs, most of these economies will collapse. Mexico could become next China. Then it speaks about Japan. So you can read the article. So now let's go back to the third verse. Revelation 18 verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, went to bed with her, through accepting the democratic form of setting up a leader, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So that's how China, people used to look down on China. Everybody used to ride around on bikes. Now the big thing is they ride in these big cars and they, eat good food and drink good liquor. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, which are the elect of Israel, not all Israel, because the majority of our people are going to stay here to be put to death, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Her plagues are the missiles. That's the plagues. When you go to Zechariah 14 and 12 and read down, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's what? Nuclear radiation. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Now that's, heaven's talking about they went up in outer space, but all the sins that they have committed have reached unto heaven. But part of their sins is going up in the outer space. Matter of fact, let me go to, bear with me for a second. Go to another blue letter. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 14. And let's jump down to this whole chapter is good, but okay, the 9th verse, Isaiah 14 verse 9. Hell from beneath, hell meaning death. Matter of fact, let me find out. Hell is Sha'awal, or Sha'ol, which means the grave, which means death. I'm not talking about burning in hell forever. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Who's coming? Esau is coming as he's going down. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, the kings of the earth. It have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. So all these nations are coming against this place. And they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Joel, the 3rd chapter, 9th verse. Art thou become like unto us? So the equalizer is these missiles. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, meaning corrosion. You got a lot of these. The bridges of America were built back in the 50s and was built to last 50 years. So beyond the 50-year period. It says, "Art thou, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?" Lucifer is talking about Esau. He's a light bearer, not the spiritual demon Satan, son of the morning. Lucifer, son of the morning, we're gonna chase you out of her. I hope I sung that lyric correctly. Anyway, Lucifer is talking about Esau. Esau and his beacon of light. It says, "How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation?" And that's what you did. You weakened the nation through war. If they would come to your country, they would send economic hitmen and give you loans. If you didn't accept them loans, they would bring war against you, and their main thing was to kill the leader. So it's all coming out. It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven." What does it say? His sins have reached unto heaven. What does it mean to ascend into heaven? They got the satellites out there. They got the shuttles out there. They had the Apollo. They had the planes up in the sky. So we don't got to read anymore. So it says, "And I heard," fourth verse, Revelation 18, verse 4, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins." And that, because now everything is LGBTQ, so it's accepted now. There was a little girl, a little Jake girl, that said she didn't want to attend this class because they were teaching about that whole LGBTQ community. Pushing it to the young kids. Books. Tommy has 2 mommies. Jody has 2 daddies. See, that's Esau pushing that stuff. Because Jake is into that too. But guess what? They doing it on the down low because they know in their spirit that shit, what they're doing is wicked. Esau don't give a shit, man. Esau don't give a damn. Because his spirit emanates from the left-hand side. He's being controlled by the spiritual demon Satan, and some of you Negroes are too. It says, and that they receive not of her plagues. That they receive not of her plagues, for a plague shall come in 1 hour. Where's that at? I'm sorry, let me bring that up. I got to bring that up. I'm going to look up the word plagues. Let me see where it takes me. Plagues is written in the scriptures 24 times in 22 verses. It says the first time plague is mentioned in the scriptures is Genesis 12, verse 17. And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abraham's wife. Wait a minute, give me a second. Why can't I find this? Let me try it this way. Bear with me. Actually, boy, I hate when this happens. I hate when this happens. Put in the word. Okay, this is in Revelation. I'm going all around the world looking for it. It was right in Revelation 18 and 8. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire, for strong is the Lord who judges her. So now let's go back to the 4th verse. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her plagues have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. So the 4th verse is, let me go back to the 4th verse. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. This is another thing that the high priest of One West, starting with high priest Ariel, used to teach, that we got to get out of this place. Because at one time, before the whole UFO thing, they were teaching that you got to get passports. They were teaching a fleet doctrine. So what we found out, that the Lord is going to come and deliver us. And there's many scriptures on that. So let me read that again. 4th verse, Revelation 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, the elect of Israel, not all Israel, because 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed here in America, and that ye be not, and the one that's going to make that voice from heaven is an angel in a ship, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she have filled to her double. Now you can go, you should be thinking about, there's a lot of scriptures on the word cup. One scripture that comes to mind is Genesis 49. The word cup occurs 68 times in 59 verses. That's a lot of verses right there. I'll read this. Isaiah 51 verse 17, awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which have drunk at the hand of Yahweh the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunk in the dregs of the cup, trembling, and wrung them out. So that was the Most High putting hell on us. So you're going to put that hell on these devils. Jeremiah 25 verse 28, and it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, ye shall certainly drink. Jeremiah 49 verse 12, it says, for thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, which was us. We wasn't supposed to drink of the Most High's cup, but we went off, so the Most High forced that cup on us, and we drank it too. And art thou Esau, that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt, and Esau believes he's not going to go, all the fucking shit he did, he believes he's going to skate right into the kingdom. and be on top again. You're dealing with a fool. You're dealing with a damn fool. Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And we did a thing on A.A. Allen. He had a prophetic dream about this place being destroyed. So that's all I'm going to read on that. You know what? Lamentation 4 verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Eden, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. And that we're in that stage. Okay, so we're back in Revelation, the 18th chapter. It says in the 5th verse, the Most High remembered her iniquities. You may forget, but the Most High is not going to forget. Okay. Inside joke. Anyway, it says, Revelation 18 verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. So you're going to catch some hell, Esau. I hate to disappoint your gods, but you're going to catch some hell. It says, 7th verse, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously so much. And that was that period where Esau had his wife. They wasn't on drugs. You know, Bobby went to school. You know, he graduated school. He was on a wrestling team. He was on a basketball team. That's when Esau, you know, he was, hey, Vietnam changed that whole scenario of how you Edomites live today. Drugs was brought in through the by way of the Vietnam War. I said there's a movie, Born on the 4th of July, which is a great movie based upon a true story of this guy that, you know, he was all American, love it or leave it, baby, starring Tom Cruise. And he went to Nam. When he came back, he lost the use of his legs. And he was all on drugs. His family kicked him out the house. It just showed you the downfall, the beginning of the downfall of this motherfucker. It's really like the 70s. Go to Obadiah. Thence will I bring thee down. You know, this man he's fucking done. Okay? Stick a fork in this red nigga because he's done. It says how much, I won't be surprised if they cut this video. It says how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. What should come to your mind? Isaiah the 47th chapter. Isaiah the 47th chapter. Starting from the top, first verse. And Esau doesn't see this. You know, he opens up the scriptures. I don't see that. No, I don't see that. No, actually, Jesus is a white man. That wool represented him with white. How in the fuck is the Most High going to send down the Lord in his glorious body with the skin disease of leprosy? And it's going to be a beautiful thing when we see you devils get destroyed. And there's so many scriptures that come to mind. Revelation 11, Psalms 91, to give you two scriptures. It said, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire that fired from those missiles. And it ain't talking about no goddamn Vatican City, all right? For strong is the Lord, because the Chinese didn't become rich important things to the Vatican City. For strong as the only thing the Vatican City got is a goddamn gift shop. They ain't making no goddamn money, and ain't nobody making no money off of them. It says, and everybody and their mama want to leave the Catholic religion. They fighting hard to keep people in there, because who do you got in a Roman Catholic? What comes to mind when you think of the Roman Catholic Church and their priests? pedophiles. And they're still doing it, man. And they just sweep it under the rug. And DJ Trump would never outlaw the Roman Catholic Church from the United States. No matter how many cases of child molestation, pedophilia take place. Esau's into that. That's what they do. That's what they do, man. And this guy, Epstein, whatever the hell his name is, Jeffrey Epstein, he got a list of top people that are doing that did the same thing that he's doing, man. So it's all, so they're hoping like hell he don't bring out that damn list, that black book. You motherfuckers, you're going down. You're going down. Okay, that's what Apollo Creed told Rocky. You're going down. And you're going to stay down. It goes on to say, 9th verse. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her, and we're going to find out why they're going to bewail her. Bewail her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of a burning from those missiles. Armageddon, baby. Armageddon coming to America. And now, why they're going to be crying? Well, we're going to read on. It says, the 10th verse, Revelation 18, verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of a torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, the mighty city. And they're not going to say Babylon, they're going to say America, the U.S., that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth there, the merchants from other nations, merchandise anymore. Because why? There's going to be a new kingdom set up. And we're going to shackle up everybody. We're shackling up every fucking... Put your hands up, motherfucker. It's a hole up. You know? I don't want nothing moved but the gold and the silver, which is real money. Ain't nothing moved but the money, the real money, gold and silver. All right? Put your hands up. Put them up. That's what you're going to hear, man. And you're going to get shackled up. It says, the 12th verse, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all dying wood. And no, all this has to do with Vatican City. They keep buying all kind of rich shit. Nah, it's talking about this goddamn place. These other merchants that I mentioned, China, Canada, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Mexico. I've been to Mexico. Mexico ain't doing as bad as you think. You watch some movies, how bad. Look, I've been to Mexico City. Mexico City you have a good time down there. And all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood. Because when Esau build their house, they don't use regular pine. They'll use the best wood that they can find of everything, so that house can stand. You know, Jake, they get that old cheap shit that crumbles inside of 5-6 years. It says in the brass and the iron and marble and cinnamon. And by the way, cinnamon is a Hebrew word. All right, cinnamon, that's good for diabetes, for you Jakes that are diabetic. You know, what I do is I make a tincture. It's a cinnamon tincture, and when you eat a little too much carbs, sugar, you take some drops of that, and it regulates. It brings it'll either bring your blood sugar down or bring it up to normalize your blood sugar. You know, it says in cinnamon and if you go take a test for diabetes, Jake, you're going to either be pre-diabetic or you're going to be diabetic. And they're going to give you those goddamn pills to take for the rest of your life. It says, so cinnamon is important. We got to start doing more videos on these herbs and whatnot. There was a herb, there was one, what the hell was it? Oh, yeah, there's a cure, very inexpensive, not cure, but there's a very inexpensive way to reverse, seizures and stuff like that, and MS, Alzheimer's disease. You had this German chick from German, what's her name? I can't even think of her name, but she got the shakes right now. She's shaking, man. What's her name? Marcos. What the fuck is her name? She's the head of Germany. They say she's Hitler's granddaughter. But recently she just started getting the shakes. Anyway, it said 13 verse. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots. Chariots are cars. Go on a highway, any highway in America, and count how many times you see a Japanese car. You're gonna see about 8 Japanese cars to every 2 American cars, sometimes 3. And I've did this many a times. Your best cars, affordable wise, that you can afford will be a Japanese car. It says, and slaves and souls of men. People that sold their soul. And everybody in America is a slave. If you work, if you got a social security number, you're a fucking slave. You're a 14th Amendment slave. 13 and 14 Amendment slave. 14 verse. And you ain't gonna get no motherfucking reparations. So you better forget it. You better forget it. You ain't gonna get no, Esau ain't gonna give you no reparations, man. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. It said the merchants of these things which were made rich, China, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Japan, rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, which is symbolic for the woman sitting on the scarlet colored beast, which is NATO and the EU. And we've been saying that. And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, because at one time the place to go was America. For 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and these products come by way of ships, and all company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by the sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of a burning. And they're going to actually see certain countries, you're going to actually see that smoke. That smoke is going to go up for a long time. The scriptures say forever, but meaning a long time. But then you have like 1,000,001 damn news stations that's going to watch it on the news. That's going to be breaking news. Everybody's going to stop what they're doing, and they're going to watch the news, and they're going to see. So, well, if you look across the sea, you can see the smoke. And they're going to get all that smoke. It says, 18 verse, and cried when they saw the smoke of bird, they said, what city is like unto this great city? You have the UN over here in America, in New York. You had the World Trade Center towers over here in New York, which was replaced by One World Center, which is Illuminati, which is 1776 what is it? I think it's feet high. And what they did was when they built the top of it with that tower, they tried to get it where they would finish it on May 1st, but it took a couple of extra weeks because it was windy. So I saw that, I peeped that whole thing. I said, wait a minute, they're going to build it to 1,776 feet high, and they're going to build it on May 1st, which they didn't succeed to do. They were close. Okay? They do everything in symbols, but they don't tell you, Negroes. Okay, it goes on to say, and they cast dust on their heads and cried. Now, casting dust on your head is an ancient way of mourning. You would actually, if somebody would die, you would actually take dust off the ground and you would put it on your heads. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to actually do it. They're not going to actually go to that ancient thing, but that's how people mourn. So they're going to mourn, but they're mourning at the fact that they ain't going to make no more money. And cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich. They're talking about how they're not going to make money no more. All that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness for 1 hour is she made desolate, a desert. Isaiah the 13th chapter. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles. There's only 4 apostles on the earth, man, right now. There's only 4 apostles. We're waiting for the other inside. That's a joke, man. You know, apostle just means sent away. So all of us that are teaching are, in essence, apostles, man. It says, rejoice, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets. Or they mention the prophets. For the Most High have avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon, which is the good old US of A, be thrown down and shall be found no more at all, because it's going to become a desert. And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers, and I should say rappers and rhythm and bluesers and rock and rollers. The majority of the world music came out of America, by the most part, by Jake. Israelites came up with all these different forms and styles of music. So ain't no music gonna come out of, you ain't gonna have no more American Idol, no more. In The Voice. It says, so this right, the 22nd verse right there alone tells you that this is America, man. It says, in the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. So no more Grammys, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found anymore in thee. On the sound of the millstone, there ain't gonna be no work here. Ain't nobody gonna get up in the morning going to work. Shall be heard no more at all in thee. 23rd verse, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And you measure watts in candlelight. Like if you have a 100-watt bulb, it's also known as candlelight power. Look it up. It said, in the voice of the bridegroom, and no more brides, no more June weddings of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. We mentioned them. We mentioned 5 of them. For by thy sorceries, because your power is from the left-hand side of the spiritual demon Satan, were all nations deceived. So you were deceived by these. You're going to find out that this man is who he is. The devil. It says, and in her was found the blood of prophets and saints and of all that was slain upon the earth. So I just went through it. And this is the proper way to break it down. Not no other way, man. Ariel didn't break this thing. He broke it down pretty damn well, but he went off on certain things. we here, the apostles, we look, all you got to do is go to the GMS, and the Spirit's on us to do these breakdowns. And you know, you can watch my video, and you can go right ahead and watch Apostle Live video, because I don't know how deep he went into it or if he broke it down, but the Spirit then jumped on me to go ahead and do this. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next one. Shalom.